Hello out there in YouTube land.
Welcome back.
We thought we would give a little bit of a different movie review this week.
A movie that we actually really like. It's an older movie. It's what, the 1988?
1989. It was a direct-to-video, specifically direct-to-VHS, if we're going to date ourselves specifically.
Shh. That's okay. We age like wine. It's fine.
That's true. But it's called Dance of the Damned. It's an amazingly unique vampire film.
Very unique in that I think it was one of the first films that really talks about vampires as one of the subspecies and not the typical Hollywood vampire that runs around and you bite somebody and they become a vampire. This is actually a born vampire.
Which was really cool that, it talked about having, their own culture and their own society separate from humans. Right. And, unlike how is shown in most vampire films, you have the Count or whatever, and he has his army of vampires or whatever the heck. Right. No, this was more like you had a regular society of vampires in different classes.
And they just kind of remained on the fringe and very hidden out of the eyes of society. Now, in modern day, that would be, if you read J.R. Ward's Black Dagger Brotherhood or... I'm trying to think.
Dark Hunters.
Right. Christine Feehan. Mm-hmm. Many of those things kind of follow what would be more modern day in that theme. But, we're talking about the 80s. Coming into the 90s, and we have this really cool concept of vampires as a subspecies on the fringe.
And, there are, granted, a couple things that date the film, like the vampire has a mullet, unfortunately.
Right.
And, some of the effects are cheesy, but, taking into account that this movie was a Roger Corman-produced movie, it's super low budget, they actually had really good acting performances by the actors and a really decent script. And those two things are what makes the movie shine for me.
That makes the movie shine for me. And it makes another point that is just interesting to me is, when you get into it, the vampire is looking for his victim. Mm-hmm. And he picks people that would be kind of not particularly missed in society. Mm-hmm. But he begins to take pity on the female lead, who is a stripper and is contemplating suicide. And throughout, the movie, he really makes her kind of do a lot of, self-analysis, introspection as to how she ended up where she is.
And a lot of soul-searching, too. It wasn't... Right. He kind of put her in perspective.
Right. Because, when you think about it, one of the first questions that he asks her is, what does the sun feel like on your skin? How many of us think about that in a day? Not many.
No. And, now it's really meaningful since we're all practicing social distancing, not supposed to go outside much. And so... we're missing the sunlight. We're missing the feeling of the sun-warmed breeze on our skin.
And where we are in the United States, there's been a lot more rain recently than sun. So it's kind of, I'm missing the sun.
I am too.
The sun does not miss me all the time.
No.
No, the sun and I have a love-hate relationship.
We're missing the sun, but yeah, we're missing. Yeah.
You miss the sun sometimes.
Yeah. And so, with that in mind, I think we can really... Gosh, what's the word I'm looking for? You can you can really empathize with the vampire. You can understand where he's coming from.
Right, because what they think of, they're not allergic to garlic or anything else, but they do have an allergy to the sunlight. He has no idea what it's like to sit on the beach. He has no idea, what it's like to be, experiencing the human elements of life. And these are the questions he asks. And I think one of the more pivotal moments for the female lead was admitting, she was a single mother that had taken her child, but she was only gone for 3 weeks, and she finally sits down with the vampire and says, "You know what? I wanted to be caught because I want to be free from, that portion of my life."
Mm-hmm.
That takes a lot of soul searching and a lot of courage to admit for anybody. So,
and then the other thing I really liked about the film is that while it got into this and the vampire really wanted to understand the human side of life, he didn't. You kind of start thinking as you're going through the film that he's kind of changed a leaf, he's going to let her live and all this stuff. And when in reality, he's still a vampire, he's still a predator. And I also liked that.
And I liked, this is going to be some spoilers, yes. Obviously. The ending, I actually really enjoyed. Just, he lets her experience what life is like through his eyes by giving her a bit of his blood. But it wears off, and it wears off within minutes, which makes a lot of sense because biologically you're going to circulate that in minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So then he kind of, resumes the fact, well, I kind of snagged you. You know everything about me. You know everything about the fact that we are in existence or a subspecies. So gonna kind of have to finish that act of eating you.
Yeah.
But the ending to me is very interesting because it kind of leaves you on at a cliffhanger.
Yeah. And for those that don't know, the movie was remade in 1993 with a totally new name. Roger Corman took the premise of the movie and made it into a movie called To Sleep with a Vampire that starred Scott Valentine, and which Tabby hasn't seen yet. And we need to track down a copy of it so she can watch it. And then the original director, Kat Shea, she actually in 2011 was planning on remaking Dance of the Damned as the script that she had written. So, but unfortunately that project evidently never got off the ground. So it's kind of interesting that this little movie spawned a sequel even though it was a super low budget. And people are still thinking about it that were involved with it. So obviously it really touched the filmmakers.
Right. So, I mean, if you can find it on YouTube, watch it. If you can even find a VHS copy of it, and you have a VHS player, because we do, definitely pick it up, watch it, or, watch it online. Let us know what your favorite B-grade vampire movie is.
Because if we haven't seen it, we'll definitely check it out because we have a soft spot for B-grade vampire movies.
We do.
So, we appreciate y'all coming here to be with us every week. And we'd like it if you could, like, share, comment, subscribe, and ring the little bell doohickey guy.
And we will actually return to our normal format once it's safe to do so.
Yeah.
This is just kind of our adaptation to the times.
We are just kind of stuck like this until, things are safe to be around each other again. So we hope you take that into account so we're not, our normal format of filming is not, usually separated like this.
No, it's not. We're actually, we miss human interaction.
And we honestly kind of miss making videos about makeup and stuff because it's hard to do that via Skype and anything else because you're kind of, it pares down the size of the screen when we go to save the film. So, it's not like we can easily show tutorials and stuff right now.
Right. So we will get back to normal, but we hope you enjoy some of our movie reviews, and we have, I think, reading lists and things like that coming up, things that we've been doing to kind of occupy our time here.
And hopefully you'll be able to take those things and discover new favorites of your own.
Yes. So please, everybody, stay safe, stay healthy. We will see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.